First of all, I have to welcome the fine folks back to the CD Financial Podcast. CD Financial, where health meets wealth. We're happy to have you back. Marcus, that man is Chuck D. Chuck, let's get into it, man. You're ready. You're chomping at the bit today with this topic.
Boom.
What are we talking about?
Should I get a part-time job?
Okay, now we have to give some context here because
There we go.
Right, my wife's telling me I should get a part-time job. That just to get me out of the house. Another discussion for another day. We're talking in retirement, right? Retirement.
We sure are.
Okay.
In retirement, should I get a part-time job? I get asked that a lot, actually. You'd be surprised.
Why? To me, that's the first question that comes up. Why would you want to get a part-time job?
Well, I think a lot of folks are wondering if that part-time income would help to ease the financial burden or stress on their retirement savings account.
Huh.
You know, federal employees are pretty conservative folks.
Right.
And so when they see their, or they imagine that their retirement savings account might shrink, they start to get concerned that, wait a minute, I've never seen it shrink before. But it's funny when you separate the retirement savings accounts into different pots. The one account's supposed to shrink because it's meant for income.
Right.
The other ones are left alone to grow, generally in the stock market, right? At a reasonable clip, right? Yeah, up and down as they may go, but typically it's going to go up if you're just patient with the stock market. And so I think that's one of the reasons. But I think the other reason is, are you retiring from something? Or are you retiring to something?
Ah, okay.
And folks that retire to something,
Yeah.
they do really well.
So what we're saying is it's not simply to fill time or make a little extra money, but maybe to give a little purpose?
Yes,
Okay.
to all of those.
Okay.
It could be A and C. It could be A, B, and C. It could just be C. It could just be B. Yeah. Yeah. So there's no right or wrong answer here, folks.
Right.
It could be any one of these reasons, but I have seen that when you turn on a simple like $1,000 a month and we plug it into your chartered retirement course, your CRC, I've seen that it really has a magnificent effect on sometimes folks will retire and I'll say, okay, based on the projections right now, this money might only last into the mid-80s. Well, I was thinking of getting a part-time job for 6 to 8 years. I go, really? In what? Oh, it's something I've always wanted to do. Aha, there's a key. Something you've always wanted to do. How much would it pay? Oh, not much, maybe $1,200 a month. Plug that into the plan. And guess what? Sometimes it spits it out. It'll extend your retirement savings and your lifestyle for another 12 years or longer.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Just having a little money for 6 to 8 years, things like that.
And you know that's good because it doesn't $1,200 a month doesn't sound like much.
And no, it doesn't. It's not.
When you spent your life making $7,000-8,000 a month, over the course of your career, now $1,200 doesn't seem like much. But I mean, $1,200 a month that feeds a couple pretty well over the course of a month. I mean, if you just eliminated the food bill, right? With a part-time job, then that means everything else can go towards.
But of course, there's other reasons too. Well, I'm thinking of somebody who became a yoga instructor.
All right.
Because they always wanted to.
Very nice.
Right? So you can pursue part-time work to explore things you never had the time to do or the energy. Yeah. So you could, I mean, you might be, I'm thinking of park rangers, right? They might be guides now, right? For trails. Yeah. That'd be fun. Oh, let's talk about U.S. Forest Service, firefighters.
Oh,
I see a lot of them get work in retirement, but they're pursuing big chunky work because they're forced out at 57, and you've got they might go at 52 and then start becoming a contractor, right?
Yeah.
And it's in high season, they'll provide equipment. Some of these guys will make 6 figures providing equipment to fight wildfires, forest fires. I know. It's pretty impressive.
That's amazing. I mean, again, you think part-time work, I think the average person, I consider myself fairly average and reflective of what the average person's thinking. Part-time work, right? It goes back to when we were kids and you're a paper boy or I don't know. I'm hoping
shoveling driveways when I was 13 years
old. I'm hoping everybody knows what a paper boy was, right? There's
Mrs. Devaney negotiating with me from 20 bucks down to 15. Rob Mertz spinning around and going,
Mrs. Devaney was a thief. What's the matter?
I was like, oh, come on. I mean, it's like we didn't have any job and now we got 15 bucks. I mean, this is back in 1980, 1970, 1977, 78. So
yeah.
I was happy.
I mean,
just be shoveling and working out. As a young kid at 12 years old, working out.
Yeah, $15. Well, so I don't think it goes a long way. It went a long way back then. I don't
know. So I know somebody who retired recently from a Marine depot. They fix heavy equipment. And he was a HVAC guy. And now he's working, doing part-time jobs. And he told me he's making about $1,000 a month. He says it keeps me busy in the expertise and the line of work that I was already in, and I'm still humming. I am thinking of somebody that lives up in Washington, and they work at they were Air Force before, and she was bored, and so now she's at Lewis McChord Joint Air Force Army Base, and just provides equipment to the golf course. on base. Yeah. So she's like, oh, it's fun. I like it.
So she's doing her golfing too then?
Yeah. I think she's doing that too. Yeah. Yeah, I think she is. And she's just happy to be busy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a happy environment. People going golfing, right? And you're still able to be out there with the community, making friends maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe building new relationships, networking, right? So I think there's a lot of benefits to part-time work. You stay active physically, mentally,
right?
Even staying emotionally connected to your community, right? Yeah. Part-time work. Yeah. So there's all these benefits.
I
physiologically, psychologically.
I always wonder about that, about the psychological aspect of it, because when you have a career, let's say you've been working your federal job, right? You're working it for 2, 3, 4 decades, maybe, and you have this kind of I don't know if purpose. It is purpose. It's what it is. I mean, it's not your only purpose in life, but it's purpose. You get up, you shower, you shave if you're so inclined, comb your hair, get dressed, and go out the door. And it's this purposeful routine that you have. If you were to go from that to nothing, which sounds good, right? When you go on vacation, it sounds good to have 2 weeks of nothing. But to look at the rest of your life and say, I've got nothing to do.
I know.
I think psychologically that's a huge hit. Maybe people aren't prepared for.
Yesterday on Zoom, she said to me, of course, all these folks are families we work with.
Right.
She said, she's a single woman, and she said, Charles, I am bored. She's foreign born. She's been Department of Treasury, retired like a couple years ago. She goes, I am bored. I'm thinking of going back to work. And she, maybe not. I mean, she could, I know some that have been enrolled agents. They do. They help people file their taxes every year as volunteers.
Yep.
So it's not even paying them. I got a family that I'm thinking of now, and they're in Denver, and she does that every year. And guess what? She sees all her old former coworkers.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like a clannish thing, right? They get together and they really have a good time. They're with their tribe of folks, right? Yeah. Yeah. And so they reconnect. It's fun, and you feel so good when you help others.
Absolutely.
It's not a mistake that, doing to others as you want them doing to you.
Right.
Right. There's more happiness in giving than there is in receiving. Right. Yeah. There's, good karma going around, right? All that. You feel better when there's no strings attached and you're giving. So there's so many benefits if you could work for a 501c nonprofit. I know somebody who raises rescue dogs. Mm-hmm. How about that?
That's nice.
I don't think they're getting paid anything for it, but they're raising rescue dogs. So that's kind of cool.
That's their clan.
That's their clan. Yeah, she very much is a dog person.
I like that because I think we've I like the aspect of it of going somewhere and doing something, because in the last 10, 15 years we've seen a drive with social media, right, to be part of a group, but you're not really part of a group. You're just kind of you're checking in on this group right online, but when you actually physically go and see people and do things, and we're discussing in the context of part-time work, but like what you said with this lady going to do, volunteer tax preparation, you're with somebody, you see them. That's got to count for a lot. Just being in the same room with somebody,
and you relieve them. And I know her; she's so kind, right? I've been knowing her for 12 years. Been working with helping her and her husband, and so folks like that, it's like, it relieves all that pressure and anxiety of the tax season and tax time, right? Underprivileged folks who get their taxes done at no cost to them. That's cool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that is. Yeah. So, look, you keep your skill set.
Yeah.
You've got it already. You can leverage it, right? I've seen law enforcement, they go into security jobs, right? They run security for schools even sometimes. They run them for shopping malls or even private security for executives and such.
Like bodyguards.
Yeah, like that. Essentially, you're right. I know a gentleman that I met, and I started asking him about it because he was some sort of special forces and such too, but he has a license to carry. Yeah,
concealed carry. Yeah.
There you go. Anywhere he goes. And he does private security. And he says, Charles, everybody just hushes when you just kind of show your weapon. He says, everybody just calms right down. Yeah. He says, and that's basically one of the things that I'm able to do for the people that I serve.
So he's getting paid essentially to show up, right? I mean, it's not tough work.
Well, plus he has a lot of knowledge.
He's been in a lot
of sketchy and serious scenes, right?
He knows what to do.
Yeah, over in the desert areas and such. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's right. He knows what to do. Yeah. Right, and it's the reps. He has the reps and he has a skill set. Why not use a skill set?
Why not?
And when you're doing it part time, guess what? When you want to go on a family vacation, you can go. Right? Yeah. You have the flexibility to pursue the things you want when you're working part-time.
Yeah. You can still schedule your tea times in amongst part-time. And I'm glad you mentioned that aspect of it because we're talking about working part-time and there's a money aspect to it, but it doesn't have to necessarily be a job. You said there's some benefits to like hobbies and things, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yes. You could have, look, if you want to pursue hobbies, right? You could have something like you want to start collecting classic cars, or working on them. Well, you got the money to fund your hobby, or you may have unexpected expenses, and you've got the job there to take care of that, or you've got these magical trips you want to take. You could take them, and it won't be a strain on your portfolio. You might say, "Look, Charles, you've designed this for our monthly expenses and everything's going great. But I've got some big things that I want to take out right now. And I'm thinking I'm just going to go ahead, instead of chunking into the retirement plan, I want to get a part-time job. I want to get this gig. I've been offered this contractor position and I really miss it.
Yeah.
The work I was doing, and I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's only for 12 months. I want to take it. So there's all sorts of things that go on. There's a family. He was a Navy MSC, and his intention was to retire overseas. That didn't work out. He ended up back in Texas. But guess what? The money was short because he was going to live like a king overseas, and now the money's short. But he lives right by a university, and they started a maritime program with his skill set. Yeah, and he teaches.
Really?
Yeah, he was a retired chief engineer. Right, so now he's able to teach maritime skills to that maritime program that they started.
That's cool. I'm glad you brought up Texas because it made me think. So, for those who don't know, I'm from the middle of Texas, Central Texas, right, home of great barbecue. The best. Awesome barbecue.
Awesome.
So
briskets like you've never had before.
A lot of those guys that have, and I say guys, guys, gals, right, collectively people start out as a hobby. Just cooking briskets is a hobby. And then next thing you know, they're running a small catering business. And then it goes from there to a food truck and then a brick and mortar. There's one fella out there. This is great. There's a town right near where we live, Taylor, Texas. And there's this older gentleman. He's a World War II vet. And he kind of started out that way. He's got his own little barbecue spot. It's nothing to look at. I mean, you'd drive by it, you'd probably question parking in front of it, right? Because you'd wonder what's going to happen to your car. But it's it's not a bad area. Just kind of run down a little bit. The barbecue is great, but he sits there all day and he greets everybody that comes in. Oh. I mean, just to see the smile on his face. You walk in there and you sit and talk to him, and he'll spin a yarn for you and chat with you for a little bit, and then you get some good barbecue and you're on your way. But a lot of those guys start out like that. Like this is just a hobby, and then it kind of grows into a business. So that kind of
not such a bad thing, is it?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think if you're doing something you really enjoy and then you get paid for it, that's almost like doing this podcast.
Wait, am I getting paid for this?
You know you are.
I get paid in glasses of whiskey, which is just fine for me. That works just fine.
Oh yeah. So I've seen a lot, as you've heard the different jobs that I've seen. Yeah. So yes.
What is the most
feeding people? That's so much fun.
Yeah. What's the most common thing that you see? Is there a common thread with all these people working part-time? I say all these people, with the people who decide to work part-time.
No, not at all.
Just kind of all over the place.
Some recognize that they're probably going to need a little bit of money.
Okay.
Some recognize that they're going to want to stay busy.
Yeah.
Right? Some recognize that they want to give back to their community. Some want to do all three. As we said in the beginning, right? A, B, and C, right? Yeah. A and C. Yeah.
I love that.
So, yeah, there's, and it's a solution for so many things.
Yep.
Right? As we said, it's a mental and physical engagement.
Right.
Right? It keeps you young. Keeps you going.
It's purpose.
Keeps you nimble. It's purpose. It's as you said. Yeah. You get up in the morning and you know what you're going to do today.
Yep.
Right? I've said this before. I see folks that retire, and I see, mostly federal folks that retire, and they oftentimes look much younger about 6 to 8 months after they retire. It's because the stress leaves them.
Right.
Right?
The weight of the world.
The weight of the world goes away. But then after that, as I said before, she said to me, I'm getting kind of bored. So she wants to go back to work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I say, okay, right? Maybe I can brainstorm with her too. Hey, here's some ideas that I've got in mind. What do you like to do?
Right.
So you want to ask yourself, what is it you enjoy doing? What is it you've always wanted to do? And then you can pursue that. And if you don't need the money, even better. Yep. Like you said, people that just started barbecuing because they enjoyed it.
Yep.
Yeah. And then it became a business.
Next thing you know, you're making money off it. And how nice is that? Unexpected income just coming at you, doing what you love. It reminds me, my wife tells me stories about her grandparents' place in Puerto Rico.
Up in the mountains.
Up in the mountains, yeah. They have this farm up there. And her great-grandfather, over 100, I think she said, best guess, right? Because it's Puerto Rico, and 100 years ago, there weren't great records being kept. But they said he was around 110. And he'd still go out to the fields, and he'd still feed the cows, and he'd still go out there in the fields and tend to the coffee, because they were raising coffee and other things. Yeah. But he didn't need to do that financially, right? He's got a working farm. He's got kids. He's got grandkids. It wasn't like he was doing it because he needed a paycheck. But this was his purpose. This was his thing. Every morning, he'd get up, you run that farm life. And we've lost a lot of that by moving towards cities.
Yes.
Many of us have ancestors that's how it was. You worked until you didn't. But it wasn't just all slaving away for somebody else. A lot of it was this joyous work, this getting up and tending to animals, tending to plants, getting your hands in the dirt, and it was satisfying. And every day you went home and you were satisfied with having worked that day. And money didn't matter so much as just the satisfaction of it.
And a way of life.
Yeah.
And I've had farmers tell me, they go, it's hard to get away from it, Charles, once it's in your blood.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So your uncle or your wife's uncle, same thing.
Yeah.
So they're still down there.
Yeah. She still has uncles down there. It was her great grandfather that we're talking about. But her uncles are still down there.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to go.
Yeah, we should. We should plan a trip and get over there.
Let's do it. Let's nail a date down. I'm serious.
That's fine.
Because I see, Mark, when I go, I'm going to go up to the Central Coast. My wife still keeps fighting about that. I don't care if it's another 6 degrees colder. I need to get a little more toughened up. I'm a little bit of a wimp down here. Yeah. And so
75 and sunny does that to you.
it does. Lows of 62.
Yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. So anyway, I see in my semi-retirement, because I don't see myself retired. If I could do this and still help people, I love meeting people.
Yeah.
And so even virtually, it's fun. I think it's cool. So I think people are interesting, right?
I do too.
Yeah, I mean, I just like all walks of life and
Yeah.
shapes and sizes and colors. I dig it. So I see a garden, a somewhat sizable garden, one that I might need a tiller to run back and forth on, right? That's what I see for my retirement, and bending up and down and up and down, just like the Okinawans, the centenarians. They say there's hardly any furniture in the place. And so they figure they must be squatting about 30 times a day. It's no wonder they live to be 107, 112, right?
Yeah.
98. Yeah, because they say, well, they're staying flexible all the time. If I can get up and down in the dirt and work in the garden and eat it farm to table, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sometimes it doesn't even make the table. When you're out in the garden, you end up eating it right there on the spot.
Farm to mouth. Yeah.
Farm to mouth on the fly.
Who needs a table?
Oh, arugula. We had that. Yeah. Those garden boxes up in the Santa Ana house in Floral Park that I would come in sometimes and just pull the arugula off as I'm coming through the front door. Did you know arugula, when it's fresh, it's spicy.
Yeah.
It's peppery.
It's peppery. Yeah.
It's like, whoa, there's heat.
Yes.
The next day it won't be that way. Mm-hmm. But just as you peel it, or even that evening, it'll still be hot. Next day it'll lose the heat. It's a very interesting green. Yeah. I like to have that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And chickens. Because I watch my father-in-law. They're not that hard to take care of. Once you get the coop built, right? I'm going to give my chickens, they're going to get organic feed if I have to supplement that, right?
I love it.
But every day they go peck in the yard. You got to close the gate at night.
Yes.
Because he left it open one night. Now, to be fair, he's 81.
Yeah.
He says, oh, they'll be fine. And the coon came and killed them all 4 of them.
Oh.
Didn't eat them. Just killed them all. It's like, what are you doing? What are you, a mass murderer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, randomly dogs will do that too if you're not careful.
Yeah, right.
Dogs will kill them and they won't.
Yeah, and he's got dogs and they were fine. It was a raccoon that came. But I digress.
Yes.
That's what I see, right? To me, that's, I don't know, that's kind of dreamy. And maybe I can, I've got some ideas too. So I can continue to do what I do. Yeah. And then I can pursue the things that I've always wanted to pursue as well in retirement.
So let me
I'm not doing it to pay me. I won't need the money. I'm doing it because I want to get connected to my food. I want to have some elbow room. It's getting a little crowded now in SoCal again. Yeah. South Orange County, not quite what it was, but where I live, still beautiful. Yep. But I kind of want to see space. Right. Still be by the ocean, still be able to get to the mountains. Yeah.
So let me ask you this, because we started in topic talking about working part-time. You as a fiduciary, you plan people's path to retirement. How often does this come up as a topic, working part-time after retirement?
Typically, we're not talking about it.
Okay.
It's usually as something comes up after retirement.
Okay.
For those who are not having a plan, they might come back to me. Folks that maybe didn't work and make a plan, right? They might come back to me. Or they, like we said, they just realize, hey, I've got some empty space and I'm not so keen on this empty space, right? I've got too much time on my hands. What was that, the Devil's Workshop?
That was Sticks. But
no, but they're saying, but too much time on my hands.
Idle Hands are the workshop of the devil or something.
Yeah, like Devil's Workshop.
Yeah, the Devil's
Idle Hands are Devil's Workshop. Yeah, because then if you're not busy, well, he'll find you something to do. Yeah, so, but I think, oftentimes it's just a lifestyle choice. They say, you know what? I'd like to get involved again.
I love it because there might be times when it's a need, right? Possibly. But more often than not, it seems like what we see is someone retires and it's great to have nothing to do for a few months, but then having nothing to do gets old and you want something to do. Yeah. And a little part-time job doesn't hurt. And then pursue your passion.
Yeah. Right? I'm thinking of somebody outside of Tucson too right now when you said that. And he's been fixing his house up.
Nice.
And I think he's going to continue to fix his house up. Well, and it needs it, but he's going to continue to do it instead of even hiring it out because he can, and because he's staying busy.
Why not?
Because he was always busy.
Yeah.
So his part-time job is fixing his house up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And someday I might get to go see it. I think so too. Yeah. Because he's outside of Tucson.
Maybe that's going to be your
out in the country.
part-time job after retirement is going to visit all the people
that I've helped.
that you've helped.
You know what? I think about that often. I really do. Yeah. I want to go to Denver.
I'll join
I've got
you.
at least a dozen families.
We'll do a roadie. We'll put on
you do that?
we'll put on leather jackets.
What's that place that Ted Turner owns? It's a steakhouse. And
the one in Denver?
Yeah, there's multiple locations.
Okay. I'm thinking the one in Denver that
there's
does
a
the wild
Buffalo.
game. Yeah.
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 It might be
Denver.
Ted's place.
Maybe.
I think it's called Ted's place.
Is it called Ted's
I
place?
think it is, yeah.
I don't remember it, but I know which one you're talking
Right?
about.
And I think he's one of the largest landowners in the U.S. and a couple other guys. And I think he just harvests the buffalo right from the open ranges. And I think that's cool.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm in cattle country.
Yep.
When I go there. So I like the feeling. And I want to just have a dinner for everybody there, right?
That'd be awesome.
It'd be fun.
Put on
Yeah,
your
boots on the ground.
I was gonna say put on your boots and
I was just thinking boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Like just to
Yeah.
be with folks or make a trip around the West Coast here. And
That'd be
go up
cool.
and down and just to stop in and just actually physically see folks and spend a little time with them.
Yeah, and just like we were talking about earlier, I mean, it's so much today is Zoom and social media and things, which all those they're tools and they serve a purpose and there's nothing wrong with them, but we got to have interaction in person, right? We like to see people. We like to touch other humans.
It's nice, isn't it?
Shake a hand, give a hug.
But just to be fair,
Yeah.
my families love not having to drive in traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love that.
Yeah.
Love that they can just wash up, right? And they could be in their pajamas. I wouldn't even know it. And they go live. So the convenience of tech is sure is nice too.
Like I said, it has its pluses, but on some level, we need to see each other. We need to, physically see each other. I think as humans, we need that interaction. So,
Yeah.
Are you ready for a health tip?
I am ready.
I love this topic. So, now that you brought up arugula and your garden, do you ever ferment any of your veggies?
No, I never fermented any of my veggies. It's not that I didn't want to. I didn't. Let me just say that I didn't.
Okay.
I always wanted to make my own sauerkraut. I heard it was easy
Yeah.
because I make coleslaw all the time.
Yeah.
I told Sophia, I said, why don't we get big jars, big ones, and I heard it was just cabbage and salt.
That's it.
I would
And
probably,
thyme.
And thyme. And you don't mean THYME.
Yeah.
You mean TIME.
TIME, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I might put some garlic cloves in there too.
Yeah.
Get a little, spicy thing going on.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe some hot peppers in there too. Wouldn't that be fun?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love
I'm
it.
getting hungry just talking about it.
Yeah.
I like sauerkraut.
Dinner
I
time
have
is
Slovak, right? So there's that.
Dinner time's fast. Well, I have German blood, so sauerkraut's in my blood.
Oh, you don't have to like it or you have to be in the blood to even like it.
I think it's a great health point because as we age, our bodies change. We've discussed this. I've told you about this. Like me and raw veggies just don't do well anymore.
How about that?
Like salad, I can't. I like a good
Really?
wedge salad, but even salads just don't do well with me.
Really? I
But
love salad. Wow. I'm sorry for you.
no, it is what it is. But fermented veggies, I do very well with sauerkraut. I love pickles. I'm a pickle guy. But if you
pickles.
hold
Well, you're
pickles,
Central Texas,
yes,
right?
yeah, against the German blood.
And I love pickles too.
Yeah, but there's so many health benefits just beyond digestibility. I hope that's a word. If not, I just
Yeah, I think it is.
digestibility. It also takes away a lot of the anti-nutrients that are sometimes in raw veggies. It goes away with the fermentation.
Please help me understand anti-nutrients.
So plants in general develop defense chemicals because they can't run away from predators, right?
Interesting.
So they develop defense chemicals which they release to deter animals from eating them. And a lot of green veggies have these anti-nutrients, but when you ferment them, it eliminates that. Even beans, the old time way of doing beans is soaking them overnight. I don't know if you remember that.
No, we still do that.
You still do. Okay, so you soak the beans for that same reason. It eliminates the anti-nutrients. Easier to digest. You don't get all the gassiness, right?
About that.
Beans have a reputation for causing a lot of gas, but if you soak them, it helps you digest them better. No less anti-nutrients, digestibility, and it helps with the gut flora.
You know it does.
Yes.
It's probiotics.
Yes, it's what it is.
That's
Probiotic.
right. So like apple cider vinegar, there's the mother. You have to shake it up.
Yep.
There's probiotics in anything that's fermented,
yeah.
kefir'd,
Yeah.
right? Kimchi, sauerkraut,
All those things.
yogurt, labneh,
Yogurt. Love yogurt.
pickles, apple cider vinegar, as I mentioned. I'm sure I'm missing half a dozen other things.
Well, there's so many things now. I mean, and fermented foods are just, they're good for you. So that's kind of the health tip today is have the fermented foods, man. They're good
hungry,
for you.
Brother.
Now we're going to have to go get some, you know what, some schnitzel and sauerkraut.
Schnitzel. Who would have good schnitzel in Southern California?
Do they make schnitzel? Does anybody make schnitzel anymore? I don't know.
I had one not long ago. Where was I? Oh, well, I'm gonna search it up. We're gonna find it.
Fair enough. If not, okay, I will do well with a couple of sausages and krauts. I'm an easy man to please. I love my kraut.
Yeah. Hey, folks, I'm gonna tell you something. This is just not a fireside chat.
Yeah.
If you need help, and you probably do, many of you don't even know it.
Yeah.
Give us a call.
Please.
Marcus.
Not just for fermented veggies.
Not for just fermented veggies. You got the number?
I don't have it off the top of my head.
949-359-5100. Call. Leave a message. If it's after hours, put it together. 15 minutes. Doesn't cost you a thing. And it could be so empowering to you.
Absolutely.
I can't tell you. Financially and otherwise. It could be so empowering to you. Give us a call or click the link and you can get right below there. You can get on our on the calendar and schedule yourself as well.
Yeah.
But don't waste any more of your time. Honestly, go ahead and take advantage of it. Even if you don't go forward through the whole process, you're going to get some priceless gems that are going to help you. I guarantee that.
A little perspective. And when you do retire, if you want to have a part-time job, it'll be because you want to have a part-time job or that you can pursue something you want. And it won't be something you have necessarily to do because you need to, because you have a plan in place and you're working towards that. And don't forget to subscribe to these videos. That way they come right to you right away and you get to see them as soon as they come out. Hot off the presses, as they say.
Like and subscribe.
I love it. I love it. Well, is that put a bow on it right there?
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, my man, for everything. Always a pleasure chatting with you, folks. Thanks for joining us. We've already mentioned the links. Please click on them, subscribe. We look forward to seeing you next time here on the CD Financial Podcast. CD Financial, where health meets wealth. Until then, be good.
Thank you, Marcus. We'll see you now. Bye-bye. CD Financial, where health meets wealth.